Welcome to Spotlight Gulf Coast, a weekly showcase of people and events across South Mississippi. Sponsored by the IP Casino Resort and Spa, Mississippi Power Company, Wykert Realtors Gulf Properties, and Butch Ostelet Autoplex.
Hi everyone, this is Todd Trenchard, Executive Director of the Baco Foundation of South Mississippi, welcoming you to another segment of Spotlight Gulf Coast right here on WXXV. Each week we're coming into your living room talking about what's going on all across South Mississippi, and we want to thank our sponsors for this generous opportunity. Today I'm real privileged to have, I would guess, our most prominent guest to date, Congressman-Elect Mike Ezell, and
thank you very much.
Sheriff, we were talking before we came on the air. It's almost surreal that we're sitting in this position, something right. Even a couple of years ago you would have never even thought of.
No, exactly.
We were still battling bees in your backyard and, Pascagoula,
right.
But you've just been such a refreshing person in my career to get to meet, and I've gotten to know a lot about you. But let's start with that because you've got a rich law enforcement history, and right. I know that's a lot of your platform was based on that.
Yeah, it has. I never thought about doing anything else in my life. My dad was a Pascagoula police officer, and I grew up around it. I grew up around the old station there, and I actually went to work in the old Pascagoula police station right there on Delmas Avenue, 1980. And I started my career out in the jail and worked my way all the way to captain of detectives. Along the way, I got to finish my degree at Southern, my bachelor's degree in criminal justice. I got to attend the FBI National Academy, and I've had a great career, and I'm very, very proud of the start I had and the things that we've done in our law enforcement life.
Now, a few years ago, I know I started really following your career. You were over in Ocean Springs, and then we had an opening with the Sheriff's Department. You ran for sheriff, became the sheriff, and I got to know you and the family, and you have a tremendously rich Pascagoula, I guess, heritage with your wife being at First Baptist.
Right. Oh, yeah. I grew up in Pascagoula, as my wife did as well. She grew up at First Baptist. I grew up in a little small Baptist church, East Lawn Baptist, and after we married, we decided to go to First Baptist Pascagoula, and so we've been there. We're still there. My wife works there, and so that's a big part of our life. And Pascagoula is a very unique place, and it's where I grew up, raised my family, and still live there.
I know that, one of the things that has certainly helped you catapult into this new position, you're not, I guess, the born politician. You're a person in the community, and you would always be out in the community. I know when we asked you to be in the fashion show, we turned it into a little bit of a humor.
Yes.
So our first fashion show, I think you came out and shooed little Marshall away in his little...
Right.
But you're willing to do that, be a part of, come to events, and that's what I think people really like and are refreshed about. And, when it comes to the Sheriff's Department, there also is a lot of administration that goes on. Right. So you're learning there. Oh, yeah. When you came into the Sheriff's Department, you saw some improvements, and I think that it was quite evident that, it sort of became the law enforcement agency that people really wanted to be a part of.
Yeah, we've done a lot of things at the Sheriff's Office over the last 8 years. We've made some great improvements. We've got a training facility now with our own shooting range. The Sheriff's Office never had a firing range before or a training facility. So that was one of the goals that I had that we were able to achieve. I also, you may have seen or heard that we now have our own crime lab. There's so many things going on in the state, and the state crime lab is so backed up until we decided that we would seek what we could find out about creating our own lab, and which we did. We met with state crime lab officials and others, and now the Sheriff's Office has its own crime lab.
Right.
We're the only Sheriff's Office in the state with a crime lab. So we're very proud of that. We put some good policy and procedures in place so that everybody would be on equal footing and treated fairly. And those are some of the things that have made morale good. When you treat people right and try to be involved in the community and do things that are just good for people, and the people can know who you are and ask you questions. And so I'm very proud of what we've been able to do at the Sheriff's Office.
I know, spending most of my career in Pascagoula, you get to know law enforcement, not only professionally, but personally. And Pascagoula PD's got a great jam-up group, and then the Sheriff's Department's got a great group. And, you know, I know those are, when you have young people coming up, that's who they really want to work for. They, you know, even I know law enforcement in other jurisdictions, they're coming there because, like you just said, you know, the quality of life in the business workplace is something they look forward to.
Yeah, you know, the police now, you know, we've seen a bashing of the police around the country, and that's something I'm gonna stand up for going to the Congress. But the police have been beat up so long. You know, I want to stand up and fight for those guys. And we're better trained and better prepared than we've ever been in history. Having grown up in it from a boy, watching my dad and the way that they operated and how we've come along since I've been involved in our law enforcement community, is just the things that are being put out about law enforcement, just not true. And, you know, law enforcement officers get up to go to work every day to serve people. Yeah, you know, things are going to happen, and there's always a bad apple somewhere. But I can tell you this, overall, law enforcement in this country is better prepared, trained, and ready to serve the people than they've ever been.
They are, and I mean, just good people. And I've, you know, been blessed to have, you know, I can think of your, you know, number in my phone, or Matt's, or I can just go down the line. And it may seem trivial to a person, but when you get in some kind of situation that you're foreign to, I know who to call just for advice. You know, call this, call that. And not every place will do that. So we've got something very good, I know, over there in Jackson County. And I think that those handshakes, all that, made it a lot easier when you had to, you know, come up with this race here, because this was a little bit bigger bird.
Yeah, 12 counties, you know, over 700,000 people. You know, that's a lot of folks, and that's a lot of gas station food. And I tell you what, we made the rounds, and you know, we try to be genuine and show that, you know, we are concerned. You know, there's a lot of things going on in the country that need something to be done about. You know, there's just so many things going on, and I want to do my part.
Well, you have done that, and we're going to talk, I think, the rest of the show really about what lies ahead. But this process of going through a race like this, you know I had the pleasure of coming over, and, you know, we went to lunch one day with Butch, and I remember we got up to leave, and you said, I'm going to stick around, and you're at Whitecap, and you went to every table. And, you know, again, what better opportunity than while you're there. But I thought that showed a lot. I turned to Butch, I said, he's there, you know, because you drive all the way over there. So we're going to take a short commercial break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about that. So don't touch that remote. We're talking with Congressman-Elect Ezell, and we'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. We're joined by Congressman-Elect Ezell and Sheriff. I know when we were talking before the break, we were talking about how this is a little different animal, and you said 12 counties. I mean, that's an enormous amount of territory. That's a lot of coffees. That's a lot of sit-down fish fries.
That's right.
And when you first get on that path, there may only be a couple, but you can see the momentum changing. So I want to hear about that experience. And then all of a sudden you're in the limelight. And then it's a little different, and it's got to be just, you know, that's what keeps you going.
I know. I tell you, it's been very exciting. You know, we announced, we were the first one to come out and announce. And on the day that we announced was April the 7th of 21. And that was the day after my birthday. And so we had a big announcement at the courthouse in Jackson County. Then we came over to Gulfport, and we went up to Hattiesburg and finished up in Laurel. So along the way, during this entire time, we have met so many people in Poplarville, Pearl River County, Picayune, so many folks in Bay St. Louis, and just there's just so many people in this district. And you know, everybody's got a story, everybody's got a life, and everybody's got things that are going on, and to be able to spend time and listen to people and what's going on in their lives, and stopping at these gas stations, eating at these restaurants, which have been, I'm telling you what, I've eaten more gas station food.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll tell you what, there's some good gas station food around this district.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, I've been to East Tabuchy, Mississippi. I've been all over the place, Old Vet, you know, Ellisville, you name it, Hattiesburg. And everywhere you go, it's like, you know, people want to tell you what's going on in their lives. And most people just, they want to listen. They want somebody that'll listen to them. And I've learned to do that and shake their hands and be concerned about them and just talk to them. And so, yeah, it's been an adventure. I'll tell you that. It's really been an adventure.
I know when you won the Republican, you know, primary, you know, that was probably the first big, wow, this is going to happen. And then election night, I was saying this also, you know, there were so many people there that night that came and went, but family stayed.
Oh, yeah.
And there you have a big family.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. You know, and that's part of it, you know.
Right.
I had all of my family making phone calls. You know, I got 3 sisters. And so my little old 91-year-old mama, she would even make a call or two. And
she did. She's
got some beginning stages of Alzheimer's, but she still knows that she has to go vote. Matter of fact, she even sat out on the side of the road and waved signs for a little while, her and my sister. So, you know, it's a family affair.
Right.
You know, and, you know, my cousin, Wayne Tisdale, has been, I guess you'd say, the godfather of all my elections. And early on, when I first ran for sheriff, he said, Michael, I'll run your election if you do what I say.
Right.
And so far, I've done that.
Right.
And so, you know, Wayne has been involved in so many elections over the years, going back to Larkin Smith and all through those years with him. And so I've had a lot of help, a lot of advice, a lot of good people that have, you know, you listen to so that you can be successful, you know, and it's just like anything else. And if you look at my career, I try to surround myself with people that have positive outlooks on what we're doing so that we can treat our people right, we can treat the citizens right, and we can respond to the needs of folks. At the sheriff's office, the number one standing order is if somebody calls, we're going and we're going to help them. And that's the only campaign promise I ever made as sheriff. That's what we're going to do.
Right.
And I'll try to take that same outlook with me going to Washington.
Now, going to Washington, now, you know, I want to make this little jump from Little Pascagoula here and just all the way up to D.C. That's a whole nother world, obviously.
Yes, it is.
And, you know, there's a lot of orientation that goes into it. Plus, you're up there with a lot of the other, I guess, newly elected, and I'm sure it's just all forms of it.
It is.
What was the youngest person you saw? I'm sure there was.
There's some young folks in there. I couldn't tell you their exact age, but there's a lot of young folks, and we've got a great freshman class. We've all got together and talked and discussed, and you know, we all have a lot of the same ideas and thoughts. You know, we love our country. We want better for our kids and our grandkids and our families.
Right.
And everybody feels like that. And everybody feels like we want to do what's best for America, not ourselves. You know, we want to try to listen and get as much information as we can, make the best decisions that we can so that we can take care of our people back in our districts.
Now, we'll have, I guess, inauguration will be in January?
January the 3rd, we'll be sworn in at the Capitol. And that's going to be a very exciting time. We'll be up a couple of days before that, going through some different things and meeting more folks again. We've been through orientation. We've just been given loads of information. And it's like, good grief, drinking out of a fire hose, they say.
Oh, yeah.
And so we're looking forward to getting in there and rolling our sleeves up and get the job done.
Now, we still got a little more time that we're going to talk about, maybe what some of those issues are. And I know you've had some time to, think about that and what you can bring to the table, because everybody does bring a voice.
That's right.
And, you may disagree, but at the end of the day, you got to work together for the best of the country. And I know you certainly would do that.
Right.
Now, you'll also have some time where you'll come back home.
Yep.
I'm sure you started looking at that schedule, because your whole world just changes.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I tell you, Leader Scalise has put the schedule out. So we're prepared to, unless something changes, we'll have time in the district, we'll have time in Washington, but we'll try to be as home as much as we can, so that we can go around and meet and talk and can see people's concerns and those kinds of things. So I want to try to be in the district as much as I can. I'm going to try to have as much staff out here in the district as we can, so that we can meet the needs of the people.
I know that as I get older, you're talking about Steve Scalise, and, remember what happened. Wasn't too long ago, we're having this shooting, and now he's the Speaker of the House.
That's
I mean,
right.
just amazing. And I'm sure you up there, in a lot of ways, you're seeing things in your mouse eye.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'll tell you what, there's a lot going on up there. It's a very busy town.
It is, and but it's. I know you're going to have a great, successful run up there. How's your wife thinking about it?
She's good. She's going to be retiring from her job here this week, as a matter of fact. And so we've already found an apartment up there, just minutes away from our office. So I'll be walking to work every day. And but we're going to, of course, maintain our home here in Pascagoula. And she's okay.
Okay, we're going to come right back.
All right.
We're going to take a short commercial break. We're talking with Congressman-Elect Ezell, so don't touch that remote. Welcome back, everyone. Of course, we're joined by Congressman-Elect Mike Ezell and Sheriff. I always do that, Congressman-Elect Sheriff.
That's
but,
all right.
That is going to be part of who you are and who you're remembered by.
Right.
And I was complimenting you on your shoes. That's the new sort of look, and I like that. I started watching Frank Bordeaux, and Frank's good friend. And Frank started wearing those shoes. Everybody started wearing their shoes. So
I've been wearing them for several years. So I think Frank got it from me.
He might have.
I'm kidding.
You got that red tie on.
Yeah.
So you're but you've always sort of been one of those very stoic, well-dressed, but very personable. A unique. Individual, and it takes a unique individual to be in law enforcement, as long as there's no better group.
Right.
Of a band of brothers, as they say.
That's right.
But there's also this opportunity here. And I know you've been thinking about some of the important issues, and you represent, a certain area.
Right.
And we're down here in a unique area of the country, and I know that we want to get out what some of that is.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, we're heavily filled with, the military. We have Keesler, we have Stennis, we have Ingalls Shipyard, we have Camp Shelby, and right there in Meridian is the air base right there. So there's a big military presence in South Mississippi and the state as a whole. So we have been in touch with various leaders about going on the Armed Services Committee, so that we can do as much as we can for all of our military bases. With my background in education and experience, we've talked to them also about being on Homeland Security.
Right.
Mississippi is also heavily agriculture, so we've had some discussions with there. Roads and bridges are very important to us as well. So there's a wide variety of opportunities for me with the experience and background that I have to be able to go and jump right in there and go to work.
Now, is there actually a manual that you get that, again, I don't know, military, they give you a manual.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'll tell you, they've given us more manuals than I can count.
Right.
And but they've also been extremely, through orientation, they have just rolled out the red carpet to the freshman class. And this orientation has been going on for years.
Right.
And so instead of just going up there with no knowledge, they sit us down and we go through classes, we listen, We ask questions. You know, there's so many things, you know, to learn about the rules and etiquette and the way to do things. You know, it's very, I've been very impressed with all those folks that have been, you know, they really want to help us. They want us to succeed, because if we succeed, so does the country. And I want to be a part of that. And I ran because of my concern for our country right now. And we've seen, you know, the crisis at the border. We've seen runaway spending, you know, inflation, gas prices, fuel prices, and the things that are going on around the world. And that was a big part of my decision to run for this office, so that I can get in there and go to work.
It's also about, like anything in life at our age, you know, it's about bringing up the next generation and empowering them. And I know that, you know, we're going to have a great successor at the sheriff's office. You know, a good friend of ours, John, is, you know, just I've invited him on the show.
Good.
I'm in Rotary with him every week, and seeing him grow and come out of his shell, and that's an important thing when you're in this position, because there's some kids looking at you right now.
Oh, yes.
All across this coast that are, you know, one day maybe I could, because you probably.
Oh, listen,
40 years ago.
I never dreamed this. I never dreamed that I'd be sitting here having this conversation with you.
Right.
I mean, it's just, you know, God has blessed me beyond measure. And, you know, I will not take that lightly, and I will work as hard as I can for everybody.
I'm going to say something that you don't even know I'm going to talk about, and it's always stuck in my mind. That's the kind of man that you are. And it was the day that I got the phone call about my brother's suicide. And I was standing in my kitchen crying my eyes out, and I think Marshall probably had called you, and you phoned me up, and, you know, we prayed on the phone. You know, lowest point of my life, but that's the kind of person that you are. And I know you'll remember that conversation now, but, and that was, you know, 5-6 years ago. I've never forgotten that. How many people would do that? It was probably 1 o'clock in the afternoon, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And that does stick with something. And I think that's what we're all called to do, you know, those things. And the other part of life, when you make a mistake, when you get knocked down, dust off.
That's right.
We're going to make mistakes. We're going to, there's no question. And we're going to come back hopefully a little bit stronger. You've been through a lot of adversity.
I sure have.
And, you know, thought it was, the game might be over. But
I'm telling you, you know, I'll tell you this, and it's about attitude. And it's about how you perceive things that do happen to you. And, you know, I know when I get up here, I'm going to make some mistakes. I know that.
Right.
And so, you know, you learn from your mistakes, and you don't let it beat you to the point where you can't get up and go and function. And that's just like being a good law enforcement officer. You know, bad things are going to happen, and you got to be able to overcome that and continue on so you can do your duty. And that's exactly what I'll do. And, you know, you got to take the good with the bad. And I'll try to do my best, you know, when I make a mistake, because I'm going to. I know that. When I went into the sheriff's office, you know, there was things going on. You have so many people coming at you wanting so many things, until sometimes you have to back up and say, hang on just a minute, let's regroup and see what's going on.
Right.
And then make decisions. But, you know, sometimes you get rushed and you make a decision, and sometimes you have to regroup and change it. So I hope to be able to try to slow down a little bit, listen, and do what needs to be done.
I know I told you I want to come on here on a regular basis, because this is important to get out through the television medium.
Right.
You know, not only the person, but some of those things that, you know, are important to talk about. You're only going to be as good as your staff and how they keep you going.
Right.
When will you announce that officially? Is there a certain?
Yeah, we'll you know, as time goes on, we'll make some announcements if needed. You know, most of the time people are not concerned about that. They just want to know what you're doing.
Right.
And so I'll be available and accountable. And, you know, again, I'm just very thankful to all the people in the district that have shown me their support. And I ask that you be patient and give us the opportunity to get out here and get busy and go to work. And I'll serve you well.
I know that I certainly want to thank you for coming on. It's been a privilege. It's been a privilege to get to know you. You made a mark on my life. And like I said, you just showed anything's possible.
Right.
And
that's it.
Great country.
Oh, it is. Greatest country in the world.
Appreciate you coming on.
Thank you very much.
And we appreciate everybody's support of the Baco Foundation of South Mississippi. Until next time, this is Todd Trenchard saying so long, and may God bless.